Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here is what we have in the bulletin.
Main roads to Montego Bay and Negril blocked following heavy rains last night. 150,000 NWC customers still without water. And later in sports, West Indies look to level T20 series against New Zealand today.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Carrie Simpson. Here are the details. Strong winds and heavy rains in Sandy Bay, Hanover last night have left the main road to Montego Bay and Negril completely blocked. This has dealt a major blow to residents who are recovering from the impact of Hurricane Melissa. Andrea Perkis is the Member of Parliament for Eastern Hanover.
National Works Agency is currently working to have full access restored to a section of the Sandy Bay main road in Hanover, which was overnight impacted by torrential rainfall in that area. So we have significant washdown debris as well as inundation along that particular section. But equipment has been deployed to that particular area with a view to regaining full access in short order.
Meanwhile, the National Works Agency says efforts are being made to clear the road in Sandy Bay. Communications Officer for the Western Region, Janelle Ricketts, provided an update.
We do still have some challenges along particular roadways in the region. However, motorists are able to access most of the corridors because these have been cleared. So we now have challenges in terms of, for example, Springmount in St. James and also Maroon Town. We have Petersville in the parish of Westmoreland, and these are areas that we are working on to have full access restored.
In the meantime, Ms. Ricketts says efforts to have full access to roadways that were significantly damaged in Western Jamaica continues following the passage of Hurricane Melissa. So far, most areas have been cleared to at least single-lane access. Meanwhile, the NWA is advising the public that the roadway from Spanish Town to Bogwalk in St. Catherine is now open to vehicular traffic. The roadway, which was blocked at several locations since the passage of Hurricane Melissa, is now fully cleared. The traffic lights at Flatbridge are also now in operation. Meanwhile, the NWA is advising commuters to exercise extreme caution while using the roadway from Williamsfield to Glengoff. Communications manager at the NWA, Stephen Shaw, said although the road has been cleared, there have been recurring blockages by landslides, and so motorists should remain vigilant while using the corridor. The National Water Commission says it is facing setbacks in supplying water to several communities in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. Acting Communications Manager at the NWC, Delano Williams, says approximately 150,000 customers are still without water, but work is ongoing to restore the service.
Currently, approximately 28% of 550,000 customers are without. So I think that's somewhere around 150,000 customers right across the island are still without. Those are the areas that we are targeting in the coming days and weeks. As I said, the challenge will be just physically getting to some of the locations, then rectifying whatever on-site issues there are, whether it's infrastructural damage, network damage, or source issues.
Residents of Hanover are facing the harsh aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, with communities struggling without power, communication, or access to essential services. Many say they feel the government has forgotten them. Antonia Atkinson reports.
Residents of Hanover are grappling with the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, sharing stories of destruction, survival, and the urgent need for support. Speaking with TVJ News, a resident shared that after days without communication, he had no choice but to travel to Kingston.
No water, no light, and my last contact with my uncle and friends and family was from Monday, October 27 in the night. And 7 days had passed when it got to last week, Monday, and I said, no, I have to come to Kingston because I know from Mandeville westward, there were no phone service or internet service. So I wanted to come to Kingston so I could contact my uncle and my friends and other personnel to let them know that I am still alive.
Hanover residents are calling on the government to act swiftly, citing prolonged power outages and lack of attention on the parish.
A devastation in Hanover, we don't stop blow off, we lose the bed, we lose the dresser, we lose everything. Everything that got sent to one to Hanover. Nobody not busy with it. Eh? Where is the Prime Minister? You know, busy with that. A just election passed one day and he was around. And nobody come to visit us.
Another resident recounted the personal impact of the storm.
My house start blow off. You know, get on, I have to try back. And I have my wife is a sickly lady. She did get strokes. Can't use one hand. Can't walk properly. And I have a little daughter too. But when the house get soaked up, you don't see nobody. I don't know. I see nobody. I have to try back up. You can go back in the valley. When somebody house when they stay at the time until after me kind of back up. Back burner, nobody, me not see nothing. Me not see nobody. As me tell you, you are the first person who we see come now. They ask you question about this thing. Well, we can't feel good about it. We feel like we're not on the map.
One resident also took the initiative to build a makeshift water pump.
We can't get liquid water. That's one of the greatest things. You know? Yeah.
In the meantime, Councillor for the Lucy Division Brian Chambers says the parish has essentially been left in the dark, calling for urgent attention and resources.
When I look at the mapping for the areas that are supposed to be getting help, Hanover is not included in it. So what's gonna happen for the people of Hanover? We don't get any supplies because it seems that persons are thinking that Hanover is okay. As I said before, I'm the councillor for the Lucy Division. I have areas like Martin Castle, Dry Hill, St. Simon, Bachelor's Hall, Lances Bay, Q District, Barbary Hill. All of these areas they have totally destroyed houses, and we haven't gotten any material, we haven't gotten any food. Majority of the damage in the town of Lucy, so on the outskirts of the town, in the hilly areas. These are the persons who require assistance. These are the persons who require water. These are the persons who require food. And to date, there is nothing that we can tell these persons.
Anthony Atkinson, TVJ News.
Cleanup activities began Monday at the Falmouth Market in Trelawney following devastation from Hurricane Melissa. Here's Andrea Chisholm.
Pieces of the Falmouth Market littering sections of the compound. At the entrance, a mini pond making access more difficult. And so resilient vendors set up stalls at different locations doing business with customers. But it's not business as usual for local government Minister Desmond McKenzie, who toured the area.
The Port Authority was instrumental in building the market, because where the market was located, they wanted to set up the port there. So they relocate the market to this location. It is clear that the thought of relocating here, not much thought was given to it, but it's something we'll have to discuss. I'm prepared to engage Professor Gordon Shirley to see what can be done, because it is going to be a testing time for the municipal corporation.
Until then, there's a plan to clean drains and remove debris from the business district. Mayor of Falmouth, Colin Gager, is appealing for patience.
Many of our revenue sources is on hold now, and we aren't charging any market fee. We aren't charging any fees right now because we understand the plight that everyone is going through.
There's also been extensive damage to the building housing the municipal corporation and the courthouse. The local government and culture ministries will come up with a plan to fix historic buildings which were damaged. As for the infirmary, it's out of service.
There is no way that infirmary will be able anytime soon to take back the residents that used to occupy. Over 100 persons residents and staff operate out of the infirmary. We are now have to be looking at what is the alternative arrangements that will be made to house the residents of the infirmary.
Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
All hospitals in the Western region continue to scale back operations following extensive damage caused by Hurricane Melissa. Shamila Pullen has the details.
Health facilities across the Western region, including Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James, Newell Holmes Hospital in Hanover, Savlamar Hospital in Westmoreland, and Falmouth Hospital in Trelawney, sustained significant damage to wards and equipment. Clinical coordinator for the Western Regional Health Authority, Dr. Delroy Free, says there is still hope despite the extensive damage to the Falmouth Hospital.
But the good news for there's a field hospital which is being set up right now as I speak. Should be completed by this evening. That will have 20 beds, and they have a lot of specialties there that will ease the burden of Falmouth Hospital.
Dr. Frey says as much as 90% of the staff at the Savlamar Hospital were personally affected by the hurricane, which has significantly impacted the delivery of essential services.
So for about probably 2 to 3 days, there were no relief. In fact, the sole surgeon there has been, he was working for an entire week all by himself. What we have done, we have gotten help from the Association of Surgeons of Jamaica, and 2 surgeons went to relieve him, on the weekend, and they are going to set up a roster to have him relieved. So how we are working now at Savlamar, we have established accident and emergency department that patients that requires emergency care will come into hospital, and we have limited access to, bed space on the ward.
Meanwhile, Newell Holmes Hospital in Hanover is facing similar challenges with reduced patient capacity and ongoing cleanup efforts.
So what we are doing there is we make sure that the accident and emergency department is up and running and is properly staffed, so we can see patients, triage patients, stabilize patients, and we send these patients out either to Cornwall, which I'll speak about the limited extent of that, and KPH and UWI has been very willing to accept the patients who were severely damaged. So that's the operation from that side.
At Cornwall Regional Hospital, only the accident and emergency department remains fully operational, while other services continue on a limited basis.
In fact, our laboratory service there is working to a limited extent, so we cannot offer outpatient elective care for blood tests or the clinics as well. So in fact, in general, all our clinics in all our hospitals are closed. We're going to meet at the end of the week to see where we are, to see how we can reintroduce that. So at Cornwall, accident and emergency is working, our blood bank is working, laboratory is working. To a limited extent, we are allowed to, admit some patients, but again, major patients, again, UWI, KPH.
It is hoped that the establishment of the field hospitals will help ease the burden on these facilities. Shamala Pullen, TVJ News.
It is time for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It is now time for the Business Minute.
Jamaica is expected to draw down another $68.2 million from the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility tomorrow, after receiving the first $8 million on November 3. This because of the triggering of the tropical cyclone clause in the facility. The country is expected to draw down another $21.1 million shortly because of the triggering of the excess rainfall clause in the facility. This will bring the total payout to $91.1 million or 14.8 billion Jamaican dollars. Further afield, the longest federal government shutdown in U.S. history could be over within days. Today, the House is poised to consider a stopgap funding bill that the Senate has greenlit already. If the government reopens, officials say SNAP benefits could resume promptly. The timeline for air travel returning to normal is less certain. The FAA is still forcing flight cancellations due to air traffic controller shortages. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says they'd get 70% of their back pay within 48 hours of the government reopening. But he says he's not sure the staffing issues will go away immediately. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Prince Moore.
Thank you, Prince Moore. Now here's a preview of what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In this evening's Health Report, we look at post-traumatic stress disorder.
Individuals who are most at risk are individuals who have been exposed to severe traumas before. And we know that even individuals as far back as Gilbert will talk about their experience then with Beryl, etc., Ivan, and these individuals who have been traumatized are more likely to develop post-traumatic stress disorder.
That's the Health Report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Use your senses and breathing to ground yourself. Talk to someone you trust. Keep regular sleep, meals and activity, and professional support can aid recovery.
Time now for the top regional and international stories. And we do apologize for the lack of audio on that package. We now head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your Midday Sports Report.